Finish continues to add many further series to its gigantic catalogue, jumping on points for new classic series adventures can be at first rather hard to spot. As we prepare to say goodbye to the Big Finish main range in early 2021, and Big Finish makes the move to box sets for the vast majority of its releases, the Sixth Doctor and Peri Adventures Volume 1 provides a good insight into what to expect for the future of Big Finish releases. 4 standalone stories set as a part of a mini-series of adventures, this box set in particular is a great chance to meet the Big Finish variation of the Sixth Doctor if you haven't already, which if that applies to you, go do it. Colin Baker is one of the best actors we've seen play the role as the Doctor, and his continued adventures with Big Finish show exactly why. This release is of course available to be ordered now from the Big Finish website. It is currently at the pre-order price of £24.99 for the box set and £19.99 for the download. I do believe at the end of September this will be going up in price to around £40 or something like that, so I do recommend purchasing it soon in order to get that price reduction. There is of course, as always, story details on the Big Finish website as well as a trailer that you can listen to. Now the benefit of this box set, I don't have it to hand as of yet, however I believe it is one of these slim cases, meaning that all 4 discs are contained within a dual case as opposed to an individual case, meaning that it takes up less space on the shelf, meaning that you can purchase more Big Finish and it will take up less space, and that, to be honest, is a benefit for everyone, I think. This is one of those box sets where it doesn't kind of feel like a challenge to listen to, where it requires all of your effort to completely understand the story. It's one of those box sets that you can put on and enjoy, and you don't really need to focus 100% on it. It's just an easy listen overall that has been excellently produced and directed. We start the release with The Headless Ones, written by James Parsons and Andrew Sterling Brown. It's a great story to start the box set, and for a 1-hour episode is quite a slow burner, which in some cases that could be seen as a negative. But in the case of this story, it creates a sense of a period of time passing. We see the Sixth Doctor and Peri join an expedition in search for a lost tribe known as the Bulemye in West Africa during the late 1800s, led by Amanda Latimer and Lord Erpington from England. Of course, being a massive fan of the Sixth Doctor, I was very excited to see a box set being released for Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor, 4 different adventures with him, because a few years ago, of course, he got the Further Adventures of the Seventh Doctor, I believe they called that box set, or the New Adventures of the Seventh Doctor, and it kind of made for a good jumping on point for those of you that haven't listened to the monthly range, and it is a very similar thing that applies to this box set, because it is independent stories, and it is a brilliant jumping on point to get used to Colin Baker on Big Finish, and this box set has a great variety between the different characteristics that the Sixth Doctor possesses. We have a few serious moments in there, and we have some rather commanding scenes excellently portrayed by Colin, but also at the same time we have that fun and humorous comedic side coming out, and that sarcastic side that the Sixth Doctor is known for. Equally, Nicola Bryant complements him wonderfully as Peri. I think that their relationship is brilliant. I enjoyed it on TV, although there was a few bad moments here and there. I still think that they were enjoyable together in some stories. However, this box set I think encapsulates why their relationship is so strong, and they are very enjoyable to listen to. Amanda Latimer narrates the story as if she was writing a book about the expedition and as it progresses. To start, this reminded me of the early adventures, with linking narration between different scenes to explain the plot due to the absence of William Hartnell and Patrick Troughton not being able to lead the story forward. And this format in some cases for me is not one that I particularly enjoy, as normally the linking narration suspends the belief of the adventure and takes you out of the plot. However, in the case of this story, it works rather well to give you the sense that there has been time that has passed since the previous scene, and the Doctor and Peri have been on this adventure for quite a long time. The story also features some rather questionable missing links between human development. Are the Bulemye missing tribe human, or are they an alien race that landed on Earth many, many years ago? I love this aspect of the story, and it made the final act much more interesting. course, Hugh Skinner plays Lord Oliver Erpington, and I think that Hugh Skinner does a very good job of basically being a rather horrible human being. Of course, this episode is focused around the later half of the 1800s, meaning that we are still dealing with the British Empire and Queen Victoria. However, at this point within history, things are starting to diminish. The Empire isn't as strong as it once was, and people want to up the supremacy that they once had. And basically, Lord Oliver Erpington will do that no matter what the cost. We see him trying to build a circus throughout this story by capturing different animals from West Africa, and he's one of those people that would literally murder somebody to get their own way. So I think he is a very good contribution to this story, and he definitely adds another level to the narrative overall. It's kind of one of those circumstances where, are the possible aliens of the story the main monster, or is it in fact humanity themselves that are the main monster? The second story is Like, as written by Jacqueline Rayner. This story instantly hits a tone that I absolutely love, the relationship between humans and technology, as the TARDIS lands on the planet Racina. Much like our own, this society is obsessed with technology, sharing their lives on social media with everyone and having a chip installed within their neck. The Doctor and Peri, however, don't have a chip, which is soon rectified, meaning whether they like it or not, to get anywhere within their society, they have to use the technology. This story jumps off the page with personality, although it might be a little bit over the top for some. I personally really loved it. The relationship between the Doctor and Peri in this one is good in particular, with the Doctor wishing to help his old friend due to the planet that they are on suffering with a deadly atmosphere, and the government of the planet Racina refusing to help. This episode continues the wonderful character of the Sixth Doctor, and he has some really funny moments, especially when interacting with the technology. There is a great feature throughout this story to really home in on the fact that this is futuristic and different and dystopian. We have a series of adverts that are played throughout the story, almost like pop-up adverts, that are quite hilarious to say the least and add another level to the episode. But equally at the same time, I love the way that at the very beginning of the story, the Sixth Doctor really doesn't want to take a look at the technology. He really doesn't want to involve himself within it. As he gets that chip within his neck, he's kind of a little bit miffed by the fact that he doesn't have many followers. And then you have Peri, who is of course an attractive female, who already has many followers, even though she only just got the chip 1 hour ago. So it kind of shows that even though he's reluctant to divulge in the technology, he still wants to kind of have those followers in there, which I suppose is a thing, again, that we can relate to. This episode in particular is one that I think is perfect for fans of Black Mirror and dystopian dramas. In particular, if you are a fan of the recent Big Finish box set The Robots, of course based on Caldor, with the robots from the Robots of Death, this is another episode that will probably float your boat, because it is a great commentary on humanity and technology, and how you can have different sections of society using it in different ways. Some people using it for good. For example, throughout this story we have the brilliant concept of likes and dislikes, and we have likes positively being able to make people happy by having sort of chemicals being pumped into their body, and equally we have the concept of dislikes, and if you dislike a post, that person will actually feel pain and misery, meaning that if you dislike a post enough, or if you get a certain amount of people to dislike a post, you could essentially kill someone through dislikes, which is a scary concept. However, I kind of feel like with technology today, we're not too far away from that as a concept. I must admit the ending shocked me. We are so used to the Doctor defeating the monster of the story, but this time round the start of a movement for the better, and the people of the planet having the choice, if they wish, to move forward. However, as always, the technology still remains, because it is such a key part of the society. A story like this is simply so timely due to the current circumstances that we are currently living in, most notably the lockdown and COVID-19, with society focusing on social media and getting the vast majority of information from it, and in the case of this story, information being twisted to suit other people's motives. So overall, it's a great story. I found it really enjoyable, and I would dare say it's probably one of the highlights of the box set for me. Vanity Trap, written by Stuart Manning. This story is an unusual one. It'd taken me a while to get into it and notice where the story was heading. However, after a while, I realised how immersed I was within the plot. Myrna Kendall is a famous actress from the 60s and 70s, featuring in some very well-known films, except the Doctor has no idea who she is. Even more so when they turn up to an interview conference all about her, and she claims to know not only the Doctor, but also Peri. Myrna Kendall's career in film ended abruptly during the 70s in a British production that was never completed. With rumour and suspicion as to what exactly went on during filming, Peri and the Doctor decide to investigate. This episode being focused around Myrna Kendall, we have that environment of the studio and the many different people that you would have as a part of that studio. The cameramen, the directors, the lighting, and everything else. And you have a few actors in this story as well that kind of suffer due to being around Myrna Kendall. For example, we have Carolyn Sue, who is put down throughout the entirety of the story, with Myrna constantly telling her that she is a crap actress that isn't very good. And then equally you have that challenge between the Sixth Doctor and Peri, because their relationship throughout this story is a little bit of a rocky one. And at the very end of the episode we kind of have that moment where you think, do you really want to be travelling with me? And that perfectly links into the next story. So again, although I've been mentioning throughout this review how it's different from the TV variation of the Sixth Doctor and Peri, some of that more aggravated side of the relationship is still there, which I think is perfect because it's a balance between the two, which is what this box set and relationship needs. Sarah Douglas does a great job as Myrna, striking a great balance between the warm old lady that we see at the very start of the story and the hard-to-work-with self-obsessed studio presence back in the 1970s. Much like all of the other episodes on this box set so far, making it very easy to listen to, this story has a great sense of atmosphere and a genuine feel like a film production is at work. I personally really love the little stereotypical BBC News feature at the start of the 70s section of the story, with the well-spoken journalist at the start introducing the location and Myrna as an actress, providing a little interview giving further details of her character and personality. But as for the actual sci-fi concepts of the story, to be quite honest, I'm not going to focus on them too much because I don't understand it. It was mentioned in the behind the scenes as well. It's one of those things where you have alternative timelines and different potential timelines and different things that could possibly go on, and it all just hurts my head a little bit too much. I kind of prefer the more human aspect of the story and the fact that you have this actress that is possibly feeding off alien technology. That in itself is fun. I just can't really put my mind to how it would actually work in reality, so I kind of decide to not think about that part of the story because it would make my head hurt a lot. So yeah, that part of the episode I don't like as much, but the emotional side and human side I did really enjoy. Bonus points to Stuart Manning for also taking the unrealistic, clearly man-in-rubber costume sci-fi trope to the next level. It played out brilliantly on audio, and it was also rather chilling to listen to. Overall, I think that this story takes a little bit of time to get going, but once it does and all of the characters are in place and the location is introduced, it's lights, camera, action, and another enjoyable 6-seat adventure awaits. We close the box set with Conflict Theory, written by Nev Fountain. This story summarises for me why I love the Sixth Doctor on Big Finish, especially when paired alongside Peri, his TV companion. So far, this box set alone has shown the TARDIS team in a more effective light compared to TV Season 22, as the writers seemed almost obsessed back then in making the Sixth Doctor and Peri not get along. This story addresses that. We have the Sixth Doctor and Peri taking up counselling sessions at the Freud Institute to get to the bottom of their relationship. This addresses two things: the negative side to their TV relationship and the more adventurous side of their character that we see on audio. It places both of the protagonists under a microscope and evaluates their character and why they act like they do, with the sequences between the counselling sessions as well as a number of different adventures that the Doctor and Peri have been on off-screen, or I suppose off-audio in these circumstances. In a sense, part of this story reminded me of the problem with Clara Oswald's character, having almost an obsession with time travel and that addiction not wanting to leave the TARDIS. I think that the brilliant thing about this story that it contributes to the overall canon of Doctor Who is that it's almost a commentary on the Doctor and Peri, because you have the Doctor and Peri going off and doing adventures, then you have them receiving counselling and the Doctor talking through the adventure that we have just seen play out on screen, and it is almost like a DVD commentary and the Doctor questioning his actions and why did Peri act like she did, why did he act how he did, but also at the same time we have those traditional therapy traits in there as well, kind of blaming certain aspects of his life. A brilliant, wonderful, unexpected twist is that we even have a character in the story called Dodo, and we have the counsellor within the episode putting Dodo in the story that we see here and linking that to the First Doctor companion of Dodo, and actually providing a little bit of development as to why the First Doctor let Dodo float off in the war machines, never to be seen again. And we kind of have a few unanswered questions there as to possibly what the therapist was saying was right, and the Doctor didn't want to be around Dodo because she was somebody who didn't need help. And within the early half of the story, we are also introduced to a number of scenes within the TARDIS console room after a series of different adventures, which at first did baffle me because it created the impression of something was a little bit off, and as a listener, you didn't quite know what. With the Sixth Doctor wishing to expand Peri's lifespan, as compared to him, Peri's lifespan is so short and meaningless, and the Doctor simply goes on forever. He had this obsession with putting her in an isolation chamber and wanting to draw out her life for as long as possible. This is developed further as the story progresses, and is a great way to start the story to create the sense of intrigue. If you are a fan of this Doctor companion combo, this story is an essential listen. For those who like grand action-packed stories, however, this story may be a little bit of a slow burner, focusing a lot more on character and emotion. However, there were some brilliant moments as we see some war-torn angry soldiers listening to motivational "You are important, you are special, you are wanted, you control your future" soundtracks, which was a particular highlight for this release, as well as pretty bloody funny. With that does of course conclude my review of the Sixth Doctor and Peri Adventures Volume 1. I really hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, you will probably have realised throughout this review it has been a little bit of a different format to usual because I've recently got a brand new microphone for recording narration segments. I thought that I would give it a go. I hope you enjoy the format. It might make the review a bit more snappy and a bit more concise and a bit easier to watch perhaps. I would love some feedback in the comment section below because I'm trying my best to make reviews on this channel generally easier to watch, because I'm aware that people don't have a whole half an hour to listening to me nattering on about a Big Finish box set, and people want reviews that are more snappier and will maintain all the parts that I usually cover, however just a bit quicker. So yeah, please do leave some feedback in the comment section below. Overall for this box set, it is brilliant for people who are either experienced with Big Finish or are new listeners looking to get into the Sixth Doctor on Big Finish, especially because the Sixth Doctor is accompanied by his TV companion, meaning that it is a very familiar territory with the companion that we've seen on screen, as opposed to the likes of Flip, Frobisher, Evelyn, Constance Clark. But that said, there has been some brilliant adventures within the main range recently, all of which I have already reviewed, so please do check those out if you haven't already. 4 strong stories, rather enjoyable, and I look forward to see if this series will continue. So thank you very much for watching this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. Do of course stay tuned on The Host Productions for brand new Doctor Who content each and every week, as well as of course regular Big Finish reviews. And on that note, I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.